Level 1, the bandwagon fan. Level 1 is the bandwagon fan, and let's be honest, they're not really fans at all. They're tourists. These are the people who suddenly became Patriots fans during the Tom Brady dynasty, then mysteriously transformed into Chiefs fans the moment Patrick Mahomes started hoisting Lombardi trophies. Bandwagon fans only care about winning. They show up when the team makes the Super Bowl, maybe buy a jersey at the peak of success, and vanish the second things go south. You won't find them watching their team's 4-12 season or defending a rebuild. They can't name more than 3 players on the roster and think the Immaculate Reception is a wedding venue. The Eagles saw this phenomenon after their 2018 Super Bowl victory. Suddenly everyone in Philadelphia had been a fan their whole life, despite never attending a game during the Andy Reid era. These fans hop between teams like they're shopping for groceries. One year they're wearing silver and black for the Raiders, the next they're in Kansas City red because the Chiefs are winning. Loyalty? Never heard of her. The bandwagon fan treats NFL teams like stocks. Buy high, sell at the first sign of trouble. They're the people who can't tell you who the team's offensive coordinator is, but will loudly argue about Super Bowl odds at parties. What separates bandwagon fans from casual viewers is the performance of fake loyalty. They'll post on social media after a playoff win, claim they've always believed, and act devastated after a loss. But check their viewing history, and you'll find they haven't watched a single regular season game. The Patriots experienced this in waves throughout their 2-decade dominance, attracting fans who had zero connection to New England, but loved attaching themselves to success. Bandwagon fans don't maintain loyalty during losing seasons, period. They're not there when the team goes 2-15, they're not defending draft picks or analyzing cap space, they're simply not present. The moment the team struggles, they either go silent or pivot to whoever just won the conference championship. Level 2, the casual viewer. Level 2 is the casual viewer, the person who shows up for the spectacle, not the sport. These are the folks who tune in for playoffs and the Super Bowl, primarily because it's a cultural event everyone talks about. They might know their team's colors and could probably name the quarterback, maybe, but ask them about the offensive line or defensive scheme, and you might as well be speaking another language. Casual viewers watch football the way people watch fireworks. It's entertaining while it's happening, but they're not studying the pyrotechnics. Research shows that approximately 45 to 50% of Super Bowl viewers are casual fans only watching for the event itself, the commercials, the halftime show, and the social gathering. These viewers don't own much team merchandise beyond maybe a hat they got as a gift. They don't follow off-season news, couldn't tell you what a salary cap is, and definitely aren't tracking injury reports. For casual viewers, football is background noise during Thanksgiving dinner or an excuse to eat chicken wings at a bar. They're not invested, they're just present. The casual viewer doesn't experience the emotional roller coaster that real fans do. If their team loses, they shrug and move on with their day. If their team wins, cool, but their mood isn't dictated by a failed 4th down conversion in the 3rd quarter. They'll watch games when it's convenient, but they're not rearranging their schedule around kickoff times. They might catch a primetime game if nothing else is on, but they're equally likely to switch to reality TV halfway through the 2nd quarter. What separates casual viewers from higher-level fans is their lack of deeper engagement. They don't participate in fantasy football leagues with any seriousness, don't join online forums to debate coaching decisions, and absolutely aren't listening to sports radio during their commute. The NFL regular season on Fox averaged over 18 million viewers in 2024, but a significant portion of that audience consists of these passive watchers who drift in and out of attention. They're along for the ride when the ride is entertaining, but they're not buying a season pass. Level 3, the fantasy social fan. Level 3 is the fantasy or social fan, people whose primary connection to the NFL runs through their fantasy football league, not through any particular team. Approximately 60 million Americans participate in fantasy football annually, making it one of the most significant drivers of NFL viewership. These fans possess statistical knowledge. They can recite running back yards per carry averages and wide receiver target shares, but their loyalty is fractured across multiple teams because they're rostering players from across the league. Fantasy fans watch more NFL games than traditional fans, but for entirely different reasons. They're not invested in whether the Cowboys beat the Eagles, they're invested in whether CeeDee Lamb catches 8 passes for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, statistics that don't occur nearly as often as fantasy managers hope. Fantasy football fundamentally reshapes how people consume the sport. Research shows fantasy participants attend more games and watch more broadcasts, but their viewing patterns are scattered. They'll flip between 3 games simultaneously, tracking individual player performances rather than following a single team's narrative arc. A fantasy fan might own Aaron Rodgers, Travis Kelce, and Justin Jefferson, meaning they're simultaneously rooting for the Steelers, Chiefs, and Vikings, which is a level of cognitive dissonance that would make traditional fans nauseous. The fantasy fan engages with the NFL primarily through statistics and projections. They spend hours analyzing matchups, studying injury reports, and debating waiver wire pickups in group chats. They know which defense allows the most passing touchdowns and which offensive line ranks worst in pass protection. But ask them about team history or franchise legends, and you'll get blank stares. Fantasy football has become so integral to NFL consumption that league broadcasts now display fantasy-relevant statistics during games, catering specifically to this audience. What separates Level 3 fans from higher levels is their transactional relationship with the sport. They're engaged, sometimes obsessively, but their engagement is mediated through fantasy platforms rather than emotional attachment to a team. When the fantasy season ends in Week 17, many fantasy-only fans stop watching football entirely, even if the playoffs are just beginning. They're fans of the game and the gambling-adjacent competition and fearful of the repercussions for coming in last place in their fantasy league, but they're not fans of any particular franchise. Level 4. The loyal traditional fan. Level 4 is where fandom becomes a commitment, not a convenience. The loyal traditional fan supports their team through winning and losing seasons. No waffling, no fair-weather flip-flopping. These fans have been with their team for years, sometimes decades, and they're not abandoning ship when the quarterback gets injured or the coach makes questionable play-calling decisions. They possess deep knowledge of team history, can recite memorable moments from the past 20 seasons, and engage in heated debates about front office decisions with the passion of someone defending their family honor. Loyal traditional fans follow team news religiously. They know when roster moves happen, they understand salary cap implications, and they have strong opinions about draft picks before the rookies even put on a helmet. They participate in fan communities, online forums, Reddit threads, Facebook groups, where they dissect every play, every injury report, every coaching decision like amateur general managers who absolutely believe they could do better. These fans own legitimate merchandise collections, jerseys, hats, flags, maybe even a signed football sitting on their mantle. They wear team colors year-round, not just on game days. What separates Level 4 from casual engagement is consistency. Loyal traditional fans watch games regularly, whether their team is 12-4 or 4-12. They might attend games when financially and geographically feasible, or they watch religiously from home with the same dedication. The point isn't how much money they spend, it's that they show up emotionally and mentally week after week, regardless of the team's record. A Steelers fan in rural Pennsylvania might attend one home game per season, but they've watched every single game for 15 years while waving their terrible towel at the TV screen. These fans experience genuine emotional investment. When their team loses, it affects their mood, not catastrophically, but noticeably. When their team wins, there's real joy. They're not performative about it, they're legitimately invested in outcomes. Browns fans exemplify this level perfectly. They've endured decades of losing seasons, terrible draft picks, and organizational dysfunction, yet they remain loyal because walking away simply isn't an option. That's Level 4. Steady, reliable, emotionally present fandom that doesn't require perfection from the team, just effort. Level 5. The devoted fanbase member. Level 5 is where fandom transforms into lifestyle. The devoted fanbase member has tangible, permanent commitments to their team, tattoos, children's names, leadership roles in fan clubs, and a willingness to sacrifice financially and temporally to support the team. These fans don't just watch games, they organize their entire existence around their team's schedule and culture. They're the people who attend multiple games per season through various means. Season tickets if possible, individual purchases if not, or strategic travel plans funded by careful budgeting. Their devotion transcends convenience and enters the realm of identity. These fans participate actively in organized supporter groups and fan clubs. The Cleveland Browns backers have 45,000 registered members across 331 clubs in 13 countries, including fans in Norway, Iceland, Italy, Switzerland, and Australia, who travel thousands of miles annually to attend games in person. Miami Dolphins fans created The Deep End, an organized section at Hard Rock Stadium where devoted supporters gather to amplify their presence. Kansas City Chiefs fans have maintained Chiefs Kingdom culture at Arrowhead Stadium for decades, with some fans attending every home game since 2008, describing Patrick Mahomes' era as a dynasty they've witnessed through every season, good and bad. The distinction between Level 4 and Level 5 is the permanence and visibility of commitment. Loyal traditional fans watch faithfully and stay informed. Devoted fanbase members often make sacrifices. A Browns fan in Perth, Australia, working overtime shifts to afford one trip to Cleveland per season, demonstrates Level 5 devotion. The financial sacrifice relative to their means is enormous, even if the absolute spending is lower than a local season ticket holder. Level 6, the superfan personality. Level 6 is where fandom becomes performance art. Superfan personalities are instantly recognizable figures within their fan base. They create dedicated podcasts or YouTube channels about their team, develop signature costumes or personas, and become celebrities within their team's community. These aren't professional commentators or paid influencers. They're fans who've elevated their passion into a public identity that other fans recognize and celebrate. They've transformed personal devotion into communal leadership, and their dedication commands respect across the entire fan base. Jeff Callow, better known as Frozen Tundra Man, epitomizes Level 6 fandom. A Green Bay Packers superfan since 2002, Callow has held season tickets since 2001 and attends games with theatrical dedication, gluing icicles to his face for December and January games at Lambeau Field. He owns over 10 different winter headgear pieces with LED lights, creating an instantly recognizable persona that's become synonymous with Packers home games. His commitment has earned him induction into the Packers Hall of Fame, and he's been personally recognized by celebrities like Simone Biles and her husband, Packers safety Jonathan Owens. Callow attends games regardless of weather conditions or team performance, embodying the theatrical dedication that defines Level 6. Other notable Level 6 examples include Super Cowboy Miguel, a Dallas Cowboys superfan who blends lucha libre and Mexican-American culture with Cowboys fandom, creating custom costumes and earning official NFL Fan of the Year nominations. The Packers alone boast multiple superfan personalities, Pac Vader, the Green Bay Grinch, and others who've created distinct personas that make them stadium fixtures. These fans don't just attend games, they create content, organize fan events, and build followings within their communities. Their dedication extends beyond attendance to active community building and content creation that keeps fan bases engaged year-round. What separates Level 6 from Level 5 is public recognition and content creation. Devoted fanbase members might have tattoos and season tickets, but superfan personalities have personal brands within the fandom. They may not attend every single game, some live thousands of miles away and make strategic pilgrimages, but when they do attend, everyone knows who they are. A Chiefs Kingdom podcaster in Denver with millions of listeners who attends 2 to 3 games per season is Level 6. Their impact extends beyond physical presence into digital community building. The sacrifice is visible, the commitment is public, and the influence is undeniable. Level 7, the die-hard fanatic. Level 7 is the apex of fandom, the die-hard fanatic who refuses to abandon their team under any circumstances. These fans have been committed since childhood or chose to be fans and made it their life's mission, and they will remain so until their last breath, regardless of how many decades of losing seasons, heartbreaking playoff exits, or organizational disasters their team inflicts upon them. This is lifelong, unconditional loyalty, the kind that transcends logic, geography, and financial constraints. These fans don't just support their team, their identity is intertwined with it in ways that psychologists would find fascinating and concerning in equal measure. Die-hard fanatics make extraordinary sacrifices relative to their means. Browns fans traveling from Norway, Iceland, Italy, Switzerland, and Australia exemplify this level. They're flying 11,000 plus miles annually to attend games in Cleveland, a city experiencing decades of organizational dysfunction and losing records. Bruce Millinger, a Browns fan in Perth, Australia, describes the insanity needed to follow the Cleveland Browns from halfway around the world, yet he does it anyway because walking away simply isn't an option. These fans have Browns backers clubs in 13 countries with 45,000 registered members across 331 clubs worldwide. That's not fandom, that's a global movement built on suffering and loyalty. Detroit Lions fans endured a record-breaking 33-year playoff drought that finally ended in 2024, yet they never abandoned ship. 33 years. That's an entire generation of fans who were born, grew up, graduated college, started careers, and had children of their own without ever seeing their team win a playoff game. Level 7 Lions fans didn't become Packers or Bears fans during those 3 decades. They passed down their suffering like a family heirloom, ensuring their children inherited the same heartbreak. When the Lions finally broke that drought, the celebration wasn't just about one playoff win, it was validation for thousands of fans who'd spent their entire lives defending a franchise that gave them nothing but disappointment. New York Jets fans have mastered the art of Level 7 devotion through continuous organizational chaos. In 2023, the Jets traded significant draft capital for quarterback Aaron Rodgers, generating genuine Super Bowl hopes for the first time in years. Rodgers lasted exactly 4 offensive snaps before tearing his Achilles tendon, ending the season before it truly began. That's the Jets' experience in microcosm: hope, followed by immediate catastrophic disappointment. Yet Jets fans didn't flee. They've endured playoff droughts, quarterback carousels, and front office dysfunction for decades, yet they remain because Level 7 fandom doesn't operate on conditional terms. The suffering is the point. The loyalty persists because abandoning the team would mean abandoning part of their identity. Buffalo Bills fans, collectively known as Bills Mafia, represent level 7 fandom at its most intense and visible. Bills Mafia is notorious for extreme fan behavior, jumping through tables, making charitable donations in players' names, and demonstrating unwavering support despite the franchise's history of heartbreak. The Bills lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls in the early 1990s, a level of repeated trauma that would break most fan bases. Yet Bills Mafia remained loyal through subsequent playoff droughts and organizational struggles. Bills fans are paying up to $50,000 for new stadium access despite decades of disappointment. That's level 7 financial sacrifice that defies rational economic decision-making. Bills Mafia doesn't just support the team, they create a culture of aggressive loyalty that welcomes suffering as proof of authenticity. Level 7 fans have multiple team tattoos cover their bodies. Not small, discreet ones, but full sleeves, back pieces, and leg artwork declaring permanent allegiance. They've named their children after legendary players, Eagles fans naming daughters Carson after Carson Wentz, Chiefs fans naming children Patrick and Travis after Mahomes and Kelsey, chosen by a Missouri mother specifically because her devotion to the Chiefs demanded that her family lineage reflect her fandom. That's level 7 commitment. These fans create and maintain dedicated podcasts or YouTube channels covering their team obsessively, not for professional gain, but because they need an outlet for their encyclopedic knowledge and emotional investment. Die-hard fanatics travel to multiple away games annually, both domestic and international, regardless of financial or geographical obstacles. When the NFL plays games in London, Mexico City, or Brazil, level 7 fans find a way to be there, even if it means working overtime for months, using all their vacation days, or maxing out credit cards. Raider Nation fans operate booster clubs in more countries than any other pro sports team, with members describing their fandom as a lifestyle and family, rather than a hobby. Steelers fans have waved terrible towels internationally since 1975, a symbol representing perseverance, unity, and community values that transcends the team itself. The towel has become so sacred that opposing teams creating anti-terrible towels generates genuine outrage, not because it's offensive, but because it disrespects a 50-year tradition that defines an entire fan base. What level NFL fan are you? Subscribe for more fan judging and analysis.